She stood there barefoot, holding her worn-out sandals that had finally given up. The rain soaked her faded dress, but she didn't care. All she wanted was to walk across that stage, just once in her life, wearing shoes that didn't squeak, tear, or shame her. She looked up at the tall man standing near his shoes gleaming, his suit spotless and with trembling lips. She asked softly, "Can I borrow your shoes? A broken bar for my graduation?" What she didn't know a broken bar was that the man she was asking was one of the richest CEOs in the city, and that her words were about to change both their lives forever. Aisha had always been known as a quiet girl with big dreams. She came from a small, forgotten neighborhood where electricity was a privilege and owning new shoes was a luxury. Her mother worked double shifts as a cleaner, and Aisha spent her evenings studying under a flickering streetlight, dreaming of one day wearing a graduation gown and making her mother proud. The day of her graduation arrived, but fate had other plans. Her only pair of shoes cracked and patched more times than she could count to finally split open as she stepped out of the house. Her mother looked at her with helpless eyes. "Maybe it's okay, Aisha, you've come so far already." But Aisha shook her head. "No, Mama, I have to walk that stage. You worked too hard for me to stop now." With only an hour left before the ceremony, she ran through the busy streets, hoping to find some Enya who could help. That's when she saw him, a man in his early 30s, tall, dressed sharply in a tailored black suit, stood beside a luxury car talking on his phone. His presence seemed out of place in that worn-out part of town, but desperation makes people brave. Aisha walked up to him, rain dripping from her hair, her voice trembling. "Excuse me, sir, a broken bar," she began. He turned, slightly annoyed, but the moment his eyes met hers filled with exhaustion, sincerity, and hope, his expression softened. "Can a broken bar borrow your shoes? Just for a few hours. It's my graduation today. My shoes broke and a broken bar, I don't have another pair." For a second, there was silence. The rain pattered on the car roof. The man blinked, wondering if he'd heard her right. Then he looked down at her feet were covered in mud, her toes red from the cold. Yet her smile was brave. He didn't know what came over him, but without hesitation, he removed his expensive leather shoes and handed them to her. "Go, don't be late," he said simply. Her eyes widened. "Sir, I'll bring them back, I promise." He smiled faintly. "Just go." Aisha ran as fast as she could, her oversized borrowed shoes slapping against the pavement. She made it just in time. As she walked across that stage, holding her diploma with trembling hands, her classmates cheered. But what she didn't see was the Mr. Arman Khan, CEO of a multinational company, standing quietly at the back of the auditorium, watching her with a strange mix of pride and curiosity. Later that evening, she came running back to the same spot where she had met him. He was still there, waiting beside his car. "Here," she said, breathless, handing him his shoes carefully. "I cleaned them the best I could." "I'm so sorry, Afia," he interrupted with a gentle chuckle. "You kept your promise." "Yes," she said shyly. "And a broken bar, thank you. You made today possible." Armin looked at her again. The rain had stopped, and a faint glow of sunset bathed her face. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "most people I meet want something from me because of my money. You're the first person who asked for something so small, a broken bar, and yet so meaningful." She smiled. "I didn't even know who you were, sir." "That's what makes it beautiful," he replied. "Tell me, Aisha, what are your dreams?" She hesitated, then whispered, "To help girls like me who want to study but don't have the means. I want to open a scholarship fund one day, even if it takes years." Armin's eyes softened. "Then maybe broken bar, you won't have to wait years." The next morning, Aisha received a letter that left her frozen in disbelief. It was an offer letter, an internship from AK Industries, one of the biggest corporations in the country. Attached to it was a note, "Greater than the girl who walks barefoot to her dreams deserves to fly. Welcome aboard." AAK. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she held the letter close. She didn't know that her story of the girl who borrowed a millionaire's shoes had already begun to spread across social media, touching thousands of hearts. Months passed. Aisha proved herself quickly, her humility and intelligence earning respect from everyone at the company. Armin mentored her personally, guiding her through every step. Over time, their connection deepened not out of pity, but mutual admiration. When Aisha finally launched her Walk to Dream Scholarship Foundation funded by Armin's company, she stood on stage once again. But this time, her shoes were brand new, shining under the spotlight. And beside her stood the man who had once given her his. She looked at the crowd and said with tears in her eyes, "Sometimes, all it takes is one small act of kindness to change a life." I asked for a pair of shoes, a broken bar, but what I received was a path to a future I never imagined. The audience gave her a standing ovation. Armin smiled proudly, whispering to her, "You didn't borrow my shoes, Aisha. You borrowed hope, and you ran farther than anyone ever could."